Hello, everybody, and welcome to Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. We were gone last week, but we're back. Better than ever, right, John?
Yeah, you're back. I'm going to be gone soon. I'm gone next week.
Hey, John, I have a question.
Uh-oh.
It's the same question they opened the debate with.
Why am I watching this, and what channel was the World Series on?
What is your greatest weakness?
Well, gee, Doug, I do a radio show with you. Isn't it self-explanatory?
Besides that.
That was absolutely, something, I'm going to do the Ted Cruz response, because that's absolutely a ridiculous question for a debate that's supposed to be on the
Especially the first
issues.
question.
The first question on the issues.
And it's on an economic network. There's supposed to be economic questions.
You go, who played Lumpy on Leave It to Beaver? That's what we want to know. Come on. If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
My favorite was, do you think fantasy football should be regulated?
Great.
Hello?
First of all, you're not getting my vote. Well, the best thing ever was one of the comments from one of the I forgot who said it. It was all a blur after a while. But I go, none of you guys are going to vote a Democratic.
Ted Cruz
said that. I'm like, yeah, good point. You think, could it have been any more biased? Can we call ourselves journalists?
Why not?
All right. As a journalist, I was offended at that. I mean, we don't do a whole lot of gotcha stuff on here. No. I mean, except for your lousy football picks, but we won't get into that. So, no, we try. I mean, you want to inform the voters. Isn't that a purpose of the debates?
Exactly.
It's not just,
and that was not. I mean, I don't even know how to put it in words. It was so frustrating.
Well, the best thing is that they canceled.
Right.
The Republican National Committee canceled the next debate with NBC. They're going to do it on some other station.
And I don't know if the chairman or the president, whatever they call him, of the RNC,
the chairman.
Yeah, the representative from each campaign are going to meet Sunday in Washington. That guy might be out of a job.
I
don't know. I mean, they're talking.
But
what they want is different moderators.
Oh, you think?
The rumor flying around is Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, yeah, that was started by Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity looking for a job.
No, it was started by Ted Cruz.
I don't have a problem with... Look, okay, just like anything else, Doug, if you were to be a master of ceremonies at a wedding, are you the most important person at that wedding? No. If you're doing a commencement, you're moderating a commencement, a graduation or something, are you the most important person? No. When you're moderating a debate, should you be the most important person? No. Let the candidates talk. Ask them questions that are designed to elicit their responses in such a way that you can that we as the public can point out the differences. Heck, I should be the moderator of the next debate.
Absolutely.
I get it. How come they can't?
Yep.
They're going to be biased and go, gee, Donald Trump, you're a comic book character, aren't you? Come on. And then what got me, it was even worse, was they're like, hey, Donald, why don't you rat out these other two guys who are standing next to you? Can you rag on them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. We got a big show. We got a lot going on.
Oh, we're done?
Aren't we? I don't know. What time is it? Who knows? You got me started up. I got 2 more minutes. All right.
I like when, who was it that said...
we do have a big show, though.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Now you made me forget what I was going to say.
Like it was that hard or that important. Think about it, Doug. Come on.
Anyway,
no. What question? Okay, as a conservative voter.
I would ask the question that doesn't get asked at all because me, I'm a big debt guy. Every one of them, I would make them answer the question: how do you eat away at a $19 trillion debt?
Do you have an answer for that?
Yeah. You cut the heck out of spending, emergency-wise.
Okay.
You do it right away. So you've got to start somewhere.
Where?
You got to start something.
Medicare?
No, you can't start there. No. Department of
Defense?
Education, the Environmental Protection Agency.
Ooh.
Yes.
Hello, Volkswagen.
Yes.
Yeah.
You cut millions.
See what happens when you now cut or get rid of.
Get rid of. Well, it depends.
Yeah.
In zero-based budgeting, every budget starts at zero, and you've got to justify every penny that you're spending.
Yeah.
Because so much of it is just held over from the previous budget.
Oh, no, that I agree with. Yeah. That I think is going to be if they do that, that's a massive change. It's going to save a boatload of money. I don't have a problem with that. But getting rid of some of these things, I'm not sure you can do. But anyway, something we should bring on an expert. We should bring on an expert.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's bring on an expert. All right. You're listening to the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. We will be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station, the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. It's the Radio Digest version of the Santa Clarita Gazette. John, you said something about an expert or something?
We have an expert, because I know you were concerned about the budget, and I know you've got all kinds of issues. So we have Congressman Steve Knight online to talk to you about the budget. Talk you off the ledge, right, Congressman?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Hopefully you can talk Doug off the edge, off the ledge.
Right.
He's kind of concerned about the whole budget deal.
Isn't that a daily affair with Doug?
It is, Congressman. Thank you.
I think he's going to put a tent up there.
One quick question, though, before we get started. I want your comment on the debate.
Okay.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know that I got a comment on that debate. It was not. I didn't know if any of the folks did a great job, and I don't think the people on the other side did a very good job. I just didn't think it was that great. I actually started watching the World Series a lot more than the debates.
There you go.
Much more exciting. Much more exciting. But yeah, it's okay. So let's talk about the budget. I do appreciate the fact that you voted no. Thank you so much. I think that was very important.
There's a lot of things going on that I think that people are forgetting about. But, we passed a budget about 6 or 7 months ago, and it had us on a path so that we would have the deficit down to zero and be on a balanced budget in 10 years. And now here we go, and we blow this whole thing up in about 6 months, and everybody's all excited about doing it. I don't get it. And so it had too many bad things. A blank check to raise the debt limit as much as you want is a bad thing.
Yeah, that one's surprising. I pulled up because I was doing a little bit of research. I hope that's okay. But I pulled up the DCCC comment or their news release.
They didn't comment about me, did they?
Of course they did. Of course they did. And I figured you wouldn't read it. Because if you spent all your time reading the bad stuff that was written about you, you'd never get it. No, neither of us would
never get anything. So.
Yeah. Let's see. Your vote against the bipartisan budget is an example of how out of touch he is. I'm like, no, that's probably an example of how fiscally responsible you are, but we'll let you respond. Californians deserve bipartisan leadership, not political games that would put our economy and national security at risk. Jeez.
So what we need to do is we need to get to regular order, which means we pass the 12 appropriations bills. The Senate gets off their butt, changes their rules, and passes the 12 appropriations bills, and we actually have a budget that we can balance and send to the president. We don't need a budget that is going to be pretty much slammed down our throats in just a less than a week period. Do it before the vote of the new speaker so that the new speaker doesn't have to deal with it. And it's a bad thing. And I'm a Republican, and I just don't think this was a good way of running a railroad. And saying I'm out of touch with trying to balance the budget and get the deficit under control and at some point in our life be able to make a payment on the debt would be
it's whoa. I think it may
what a novel idea.
It might show a little bit about how out of touch they are. I'm starting to begin to agree with Doug, which is scaring me, Congressman, I got to tell you.
Trust me, John, if I would have voted for the budget, they would have hammered me.
Oh, of course.
So if I vote against the budget, they hammer me. That's politics. Come on.
But, Congressman, what we are getting from the pundits and, Fox News, it always laying on Boehner and McConnell meeting with Pelosi and Reid. What's your take on that? I mean, did they kind of get together and they just said, let's just do this and be done with it? I mean, I don't understand their way of thinking, their motivations, particularly the Republicans.
Yeah, this is a quick deal. I mean, this is, I think, I'm a pretty astute guy on this stuff, and I think that a lot of this was political. Let's get this off the plate of the new speaker. Let's get it done, and let's get through with this so that he can have a clean slate and he can move forward. That being said, there was also an awful lot of issues that came from the White House that they wanted to get done so that maybe President Obama could be seen as somebody who does something or gets something done across the aisle. So, but I think there was 167 votes, and they were all Republicans. So this was not a great Republican budget, that's for sure.
Well, I guess you're on the Defense Appropriations Committee, right?
I'm on the Armed Services
Committee. That's right. Yep. Okay. Well, it's still got to be pretty good because it's dollar for dollar spending. So if everything goes up, then the Defense Department should get more money in theory.
Yeah. So it's a 2-year budget. So basically, the defense spending will go up because of the 2-year budget, and I guess if you average that or worked it out that way, they would be getting more money, even though in the first year they're losing $5 billion. That's not the fact. I just walked in my office after coming from Edwards, and I was talking to all the sergeants out there, and I said, I don't want to say this meanly, but the defense doesn't get a pass.
Right.
We need to balance a budget. I am saying that defense is our top priority, defending this country and all of that, but we have to have a balanced budget. We have to show that we can pay down our debt. We have to, or this country could fail, and that's not something not something I want to do, not something I want to leave to the next generation. So that's always got to be the top priority. We gotta work this, and that means that we have a whole bunch of money to spend, and defense should be the top of the ticket. But we better figure out a way to do it so that we balance and we pay down our debt.
Folks, you're listening to AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour, and our special guest is Congressman Steve Knight. Congressman Knight, is it going to be different now with the new speaker, do you think, with Paul Ryan taking over yesterday?
I think a little bit will be different. We will get back to more of regular order. I think that Paul is a little bit more of a no-nonsense guy when it comes to regular order, which means, when I've got an idea, it's going to go through committee, and if it gets through committee, then it's going to go out on the floor, and so on and so forth. And so that I do think. Secondly, he's been the Ways and Means chairman, and he's been working on tax policy. So I think that there's going to be some big ticket items that are going to be pushed. But he's also a realist, and he understands that we've got about 14 months before a lot of this can be implemented. If we really want to do it, we better get a different president.
Just from a complete, and you may not even know the answer to this one, because this one's always stumped me. Why don't the Republicans put forth their agenda and drop it on the president's desk and say, we think this will work, what do you do? And he's going to veto it. That puts the ball in his court, right?
Absolutely. Look, the biggest problem right now, I've got two boys that are 17 or 21, and my 21-year-old says, hey, look, I want to see a difference between a Republican and a Democrat. And I said, hey, me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we can put bills on the president's desk and he continues to veto them, then you can see a difference. But if we don't put bills on the desk, that's why Congressman McCarthy is pushing to get rid of this filibuster and 60-vote rule in the Senate and say, hey, look, all we need to do is get 51 votes, and we can put 150 bills on the president's desk.
Right.
If he vetoes 150 bills, there's a distinct difference. But if he never sees a bill, then people don't know.
That's what I was going to ask you. How many bills has he seen this year?
Well,
hardly any. I know outside of the NDAA, I think he's only vetoed about 3 or 4 bills in his whole 7-year career. So,
there's one to talk about, isn't it?
Yeah.
The National Defense Authorization Act.
Right. So we're going to get that worked out. That'll get through.
Okay.
And when the appropriations comes, I will vote to appropriate the military, and that'll get worked out. But he's just been protected by Harry Reid, and now he's protected by the 60-vote rule. And for the life of me, I don't know why Mitch McConnell just won't change it. But
why won't he? Why won't he?
He says he likes the tradition.
Yeah. That's going to push us right over the cliff, it seems like. A tradition of spending and not cutting and raising taxes. That's a good tradition to have, I guess, in the grand scheme of things.
I guess.
It's when you and the worst part is you've got people who are actually looking at this, and I think this is part of the reason why Trump is so popular. He's so anti-establishment.
Right.
But he really is.
I think you're seeing Trump and Carson and even Fiorina that are, they can talk about, hey, how dysfunctional Washington is because they have no record. And a lot of people say, well, then let's give them a chance.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're still climbing. I think Carson was climbing even more after the debate. So,
but
they're going to be tough to beat.
My biggest concern is when we get to next November, is to have the huge amount of I call them Santa Claus voters that are afraid of losing what they have or going to get from the government, which is how Barack Obama won. Are they going to come out in droves again and get Hillary elected? That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, it's interesting, and in California we've got this new law, this same-day registration, same-day vote, law and history of laws.
I think.
that's going to make me put basically part of my campaign into watching polls and making sure that there's not 3 busloads of people jumping off and going in and registering to vote and voting right there. But it's going to be interesting in this next election. We are getting a new president, and there is a distinct difference between what Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are saying and what Donald Trump and Marco Rubio are saying. So I don't know. We got a long way to go, though, yet.
So are you going to announce right here in the Gazette Radio Hour who you're endorsing? Come on, Congressman. Throw us a bone, man.
I'll endorse one of them.
And I can probably one out of the. Okay, I'll take that. I can do the math from there.
There's still a ways to go. Let me tell you, there's still some bonehead moves to be had.
Okay, let me ask you this: are you one of the ones that thinks Trump is somewhat of a joke?
No, a comic book hero.
I do not think he's a joke. I would like to hear some more substance other than, this guy's a disaster, or
concur, yeah.
Trust me, when I get there, I'll know how to do it. This is a hard job. Being president is a really, really hard job, and I do want to hear some substance from the Carsons, the Trumps, that when you step into that first day, what you're going to be doing and how it works. I don't need an insider, but I do need somebody who can sit in the desk and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, and I know how to do it. And that's going to have to be shown to me over the next few months before I make a decision.
That's the one thing that appeals to me a little bit about John Kasich. He did it in Congress, and he did it as governor of Ohio.
Very smart man. I've met him a couple times. He's impressed me. Sometimes he gets a little fast and tongue-tied, and his personality is, a little bit more to the fact. But very bright guy, and he's done some exceptional things in Ohio, and so I still think he's going to be part of the mix. I do.
Yeah, he's going to be in there. Everything he did in Ohio is because of fracking. Don't you watch the debates, Doug? Come on. It's fracking. Why do I am the only person who knows?
He got lucky with fracking.
So, all right. So, Congressman, what's next on your agenda? What's coming up that you're concerned about?
Oh, well, we've got a lot of things coming up. So, there's going to be a whole new regime, a whole new change in Congress, and that's going to be a big difference. But I had a bill, my small business bill was in the NDAA that was vetoed, so we're working on making sure that the NDAA will move forward, and of course my bill will move forward.
Can you tell the listeners what that bill is, please? Sorry.
Yeah, just in a nutshell, very simply, it allows small businesses to bind together with other small businesses to act basically as a large business and go after government contracts. Before, they've been excluded on about 90% of the deals, and that just has hurt them. All the Republicans love my bill. All the Democrats love my bill. It's a great bill. It just got caught up in the NDAA.
All right.
Secondly, we're working on the Bouquet Canyon. Hopefully on, I think, the 9th of November, we've got everybody coming together, working that deal out. Continuing to work on CMEX, and just got a couple vet bills that we're working on right now that will probably drop in the next few weeks.
Oh, good.
And, it's never a day off. That's what I'm finding.
What's the latest with CMEX, or what do you anticipate?
Yeah, so we're kind of dealing with a couple of the groups inside of the BLM and the groups that were part of the getting rid of the contracts. So if we don't have to do legislation, we certainly don't want to. Right. It might come down to us doing some legislation, but right now, and I know you've got some social media people out there that are clamoring to get legislation. Yeah. Why in the hell would you want to do legislation that I need 534 votes when I can just do it through the bureaucracy and hopefully get this thing done? I mean, that's the goal, is to get this thing done. So that's what we're trying to do, and I firmly believe we're going to be 100% successful, and but it's just going to take a little time.
Yeah.
Kind of an off-the-wall question, but who takes John Boehner's place in the House? Does the governor select that?
No, so I believe they will have a special. Somebody told me Jerry Springer was going to run.
Oh, jeez. That could be fun. I could see the entire House of Representatives going, Jerry, wouldn't that be great? The State of the Union address would be kind of fun. He should be president, wouldn't he?
I haven't verified that, but they said, oh yeah, Jerry Springer's going to run. We heard that. And I said, oh, okay. But I don't know. I'm sure they'll have a special election in the next 90 days, and they'll figure that out. But yeah, moving forward.
I'd like to back up a minute, though, and talk about the debt ceiling. And there's a lot of speculation as to why the Republicans, and we've talked a little bit about this with you, why the Republicans were so concerned about being blamed for the debt ceiling. When we talked to you last, you were willing to suffer the ramifications politically of voting no on the budget and incur their wrath, which you did a little bit from that organization. But when everything that I read about the debt, if the government shut down, it really doesn't affect a whole heck of a lot.
So you don't want the government to shut down. I think that we want to show that we can do something right for once. But I just cannot give a blank check on the debt limit. Before when we've raised it, it would be raised by $500 billion, or I think at one time it was raised by $1.1 trillion. This is a blank check. So in essence, we can go out there and kind of do whatever we want in the last 13 months of President Obama's presidency. That ain't something I want.
No.
And so that's a big deal about the debt limit. But if we can never figure out a way to run the government without raising the debt ceiling, then we are not running the government. That's just the fact. And if we can never have a plan to where we get to a zero deficit, a balanced budget, then we are not running the government. And I know everybody out there says, well, we're the greatest country in the world, and I firmly agree with you.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we can't fail at somewhere down the line.
That's true.
But when is the masses going to see what you're talking about?
Doug, how can anybody answer that question, Doug? When are people going to become smart? Really?
Yeah, and you've got to have a plan. We're gonna go in. I'm going to start working with a lot of the freshmen that voted against this, and maybe put together some plan, maybe some legislation that we can drop next year to show how you do this without raising the debt ceiling every year, or how you do this in a manner that the debt ceiling will not be raised over a period.
Right.
Something. You've got to show, okay, well, you don't want to do this. Well, what's your answer? Okay, well, I'm that guy. I'm that guy that says, okay, I got to give you an answer. Yeah. So we're going to work on that.
I think it's called fiscal responsibility. I could be wrong.
But you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you could You could also forgive my student loans. Just saying that right now. It's been a long time. I'm still paying off law school a little bit. Just wave your magic wand. So okay, completely unrelated to the debt for a change, Doug.
I'm a debt guy.
What's the one thing that going to Washington and becoming a congressman, what's the one thing that surprised you the most? That you did not expect?
Well, there is, it's interesting. I was in the largest legislature in the country, and you would think that it would transfer over so much, but there are so many little nuances and ways that they do things over there that you just shake your head and go, boy, now I know why people get frustrated. This 60-vote rule, this filibuster issue that one person is basically in charge of not changing, just the way that people go in there and say, well, we got to do this time, but next time we'll fix it. It's just a different attitude. And I think the longer you're there, the more you're apt to maybe go along with some of these things. And so I've brought it up before. I don't think there should be term limits, but good gosh, there might be something, maybe age limits or something.
Age limits, there you go.
It's difficult. It really is, and but I enjoy the fact that I know I'm going to get some things done, and I know I'm going to make it a little better. But
it's got to be frustrating.
A lot better.
All right, Congressman. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of our time. Congressman Steve Knight, everybody, and we really appreciate you coming on the Gazette Radio Hour, and we hope to have you back soon.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Anytime. Give me a call.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You've been listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. We will be right back.